Have you ever met someone who appears to be the epitome of altruism, yet there seems to be an underlying motive for seeking admiration in their every act of kindness? Today, we're venturing into the intriguing world of psychology to unearth a lesser-known facet of narcissism: communal narcissism. At first blush, the term communal narcissism might seem paradoxical. After all, narcissism is usually associated with self-centeredness, while communal implies a focus on the collective. But once you scratch beneath the surface, you'll find that this subtype of narcissistic personality is indeed a fascinating phenomenon. Communal narcissists present themselves as extraordinarily caring, selfless, and morally superior individuals, particularly in group settings. They're the ones who will go to great lengths to showcase their altruism, often outdoing others in acts of kindness or generosity. But here's the catch. Their selfless acts are usually driven by a desire for admiration and validation. In essence, communal narcissists seek to be perceived as the pillars of their communities, the paragons of virtue, the torchbearers of morality. They take immense pride in their association with certain groups, whether it's a community organization, a social movement, or even a simple book club. This affiliation serves as a platform for them to boost their self-esteem and cement their moral standing. However, despite their seemingly communal focus, these individuals may downplay or entirely dismiss the contributions of others within the same group. Their spotlight is firmly fixed on their own perceived altruism and moral virtue. What's more, communal narcissists often harbor a sense of moral superiority, believing that their values and actions are more righteous and virtuous than those of the general population. This sense of superiority, coupled with a disregard for others' contributions, often results in a warped sense of empathy, directed selectively towards those who can enhance their image or contribute to their self-perception as a caring and selfless individual. So while on the surface communal narcissists may appear as the very embodiment of altruism, their underlying narcissistic traits can often paint a different picture, a picture characterized by a need for admiration, entitlement, and a lack of genuine empathy. Now, let's delve deeper into the various aspects of communal narcissism. Benevolence is beautiful, but what if it's a mask for seeking validation and admiration? Let's delve into the intriguing world of communal narcissism, where altruism often carries a hidden agenda. Picture this: a person who is always at the forefront of charity events, passionately advocating for social causes, and seemingly going out of their way to help others. But if we scratch beneath the surface, we find a more complex motive. Communal narcissists are individuals who engage in acts of kindness or generosity, not out of genuine empathy or care, but to seek admiration and validation. Their seemingly selfless acts are meticulously crafted performances aimed at painting a saintly picture of themselves. To illustrate, let's consider an anecdote about a woman named Lisa. Lisa is well known in her community for her philanthropic efforts. She organizes fundraisers, volunteers at local shelters, and is always ready to lend a helping hand. However, Lisa's generosity is often accompanied by a noticeable pattern. She tends to publicize her good deeds, often sharing them on social media or subtly ensuring that her acts of kindness don't go unnoticed. She thrives on the praise and recognition she receives for her altruistic behavior. While her actions may indeed help others, Lisa's primary motive lies in the admiration she gains, the validation she receives, and the moral high ground she maintains. Her altruism, while beneficial to those she helps, serves as a means to an end, the end being the admiration and recognition she so craves. This is not to say that all acts of kindness are veiled attempts at seeking validation. However, in the case of communal narcissists, their altruism is often a tool to feed their desire for admiration. It's a complex interplay of altruism and ego, kindness and vanity, selflessness and self-obsession. In essence, the communal narcissist stage is the world. Their role is that of the altruist, and the applause they seek is the admiration of others. Their acts of kindness, while beneficial to some, are often carefully choreographed performances aimed at maintaining their image. So, at the core of their altruistic acts, there's a persistent need for admiration. Ever encountered someone who seems to think they're on a higher moral ground than everyone else? Now, let's delve into the moral superiority complex often seen in communal narcissists. These individuals don't merely think they're good, they believe they are the epitome of righteousness. This is not about being right or wrong in an argument. No, it's about seeing themselves as morally superior to the rest of the population. For instance, imagine a person who never misses an opportunity to remind others about their vegetarian lifestyle, not because they care about the animals or environment, but because they want to be seen as morally enlightened. They use their moral choices as a tool to belittle others and to elevate their own self-image. It's all about maintaining their inflated sense of self-worth and moral high ground, even if it means dismissing the valid choices and values of others. Their moral superiority complex is just another facet of their narcissistic personality. Are you familiar with people who take excessive pride in their association with a particular group? This is a hallmark of communal narcissists. They often associate themselves with certain groups, such as community organizations, social movements, or even exclusive clubs. You can almost feel the pride swelling in their chests as they speak about their affiliations. For example, consider Paul, who is part of a local charity organization. He's always at the forefront, organizing events, and never misses an opportunity to remind people of his role. He takes immense pride in his association with the charity, often using it as a platform to display his altruism. But if you look closely, you'll see that his pride isn't so much about the charity's mission as it is about the prestige it brings him. This excessive pride in group affiliation isn't just about belonging. For communal narcissists like Paul, it's a tool to boost their self-esteem and reinforce their moral standing. Their group affiliation serves as a platform to boost their self-esteem and reinforce their moral standing. What happens when a group member's contribution is downplayed or ignored? This is a common experience when dealing with a communal narcissist. These individuals may intentionally dismiss or belittle the efforts of others in the same group. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a team working on a project. Everyone contributes. But when it comes time to present, the communal narcissist takes all the credit, barely acknowledging their colleagues' input. This isn't because they believe no one else did anything worthy. Instead, it's a strategy to keep the spotlight firmly on themselves. They want to be seen as the driving force, the key player, the hero of the story. They present their deeds as selfless and moral, while subtly undermining the work of others. This behavior, unfortunately, often goes unnoticed, as it's masked by their outwardly caring persona. Despite the communal focus, they seek to maintain a spotlight on their own perceived altruism and moral virtue. Is empathy always genuine, or can it be used as a tool for image enhancement? Now we're diving into the intriguing world of selective empathy, a characteristic often associated with communal narcissists. Imagine empathy as a spotlight, illuminating those who stand in its beam. For most of us, this light is cast indiscriminately, touching everyone we encounter. However, for communal narcissists, this spotlight of empathy is controlled with a level of precision, focusing only on those who can enhance their image or contribute to their self-portrait as a caring and selfless individual. Picture a communal narcissist named Jane. Jane is a renowned philanthropist, always at the forefront of every charity event, her name constantly associated with good deeds. However, when we observe Jane's behavior more closely, we notice a pattern. Jane only seems to show empathy towards high-profile cases or situations that would gain her more recognition. She is empathetic to those who provide her a platform to shine, those who build her image as a caring and selfless individual. But what about the less visible, less glamorous situations? The individuals that don't provide her with a stage to perform her altruism? Well, Jane's empathy spotlight rarely, if ever, shines on those. This is not to say that the empathy she shows is entirely fake. Rather, it's selectively distributed, carefully directed towards situations and individuals that can reciprocate with admiration, validation, or an enhancement to her image. Let's be clear. Empathy, in its purest form, is about understanding and sharing the feelings of others. It's about connecting on a deep human level without any ulterior motives. But for communal narcissists like Jane, empathy becomes a strategic tool, a means to an end, rather than an end in itself. It becomes a way to maintain their self-perceived moral superiority and to fuel their need for admiration. So when we talk about communal narcissists, we need to understand that their empathy is not universal. It's not a natural extension of their feelings towards others, but rather a calculated move in a larger game of image cultivation and validation seeking. Their empathy is not universal, but is selectively directed. How does a communal narcissist react when their image of moral superiority is challenged? Now, this is where things get particularly interesting. You see, communal narcissists have carefully crafted an image of themselves as selfless and morally superior individuals. They've built a fortress of virtue around themselves. But what happens when someone dares to challenge this image? What happens when someone points out a flaw, a contradiction, or a misstep? Well, the fortress walls come up and the cannons are loaded. Defensive reactions are triggered. Unlike most of us, who might take a moment to consider the validity of the criticism, communal narcissists tend to react with immediate indignation. They may get angry, they may argue, they may even lash out. Let's paint a picture here. Imagine a communal narcissist who has been organizing a charity event. They've been at the forefront, leading the charge, and of course basking in the admiration and praise of the community. But then, someone points out that they've been hogging the spotlight, not giving others a chance to contribute. How do you think our communal narcissist will react? If you're thinking they might humbly accept the criticism and make room for others, well, you'd be mistaken. Instead, they are more likely to get defensive. They might argue that they're simply doing what no one else is willing to do, that they're the ones making a real difference. And here's the real kicker. They often portray themselves as misunderstood heroes. They might say they're being criticized because people don't understand their noble intentions, or because they're jealous of their achievements. They spin a narrative where they're the victim, the misunderstood hero who's just trying to do good in the world. This defensiveness is a shield, a way to protect their inflated self-image. Any criticism is perceived as a threat, and the communal narcissist will do whatever it takes to neutralize that threat. So the next time you see a communal narcissist getting defensive, remember this. It's not about the criticism. It's about protecting their image, their fortress of virtue. And the irony is, in their efforts to defend their image, they often reveal the very traits they're trying to hide. When criticized, they often portray themselves as misunderstood heroes. So, with this understanding of communal narcissism, how can we recognize and navigate such personalities in our communities? To summarize, communal narcissism is a unique subtype of narcissistic personality that manifests in group contexts. These individuals present themselves as the epitome of altruism and moral superiority, but their benevolence often serves a hidden agenda, to feed their need for admiration and validation. They seek recognition for their acts of kindness, not merely content with the act of giving itself. This desire for external validation drives their altruistic behavior, often leading to what we term as competitive altruism. They aim to outshine others with their generosity, in a bid to reinforce their self-image as the most caring and benevolent individual within the group. Communal narcissists typically display a moral superiority complex, perceiving their values and actions as more righteous than those of the general population. This sense of moral high ground is often intertwined with excessive pride in their group affiliations. They use their association with certain communities or social movements to boost their self-esteem and enhance their perceived moral standing. Yet despite their communal focus, they often disregard or diminish the contributions of others within the same group. They strive to keep the spotlight firmly on their perceived altruism, even if it means downplaying the efforts of others. While they may portray themselves as empathetic, their empathy is often selective, targeted towards those who can enhance their image or contribute to their self-image as a selfless individual. This is not to say they are incapable of empathy, but rather that their capacity for genuine empathy may be limited. Their actions are often motivated by a need for external validation rather than a deep understanding of others' feelings. Underneath their altruistic facade, communal narcissists harbor classic narcissistic traits: entitlement, a need for admiration, and a lack of genuine empathy. They are also prone to defensive reactions when their communal image is challenged, often responding with indignation or anger, or by portraying themselves as misunderstood heroes. So, how can we navigate interactions with communal narcissists? First and foremost, it's important to recognize the signs. Look for patterns of behavior that suggest a desire for validation or admiration, selective empathy, or a tendency to downplay others' contributions. Try to establish boundaries. While it's natural to appreciate acts of kindness, be aware of the potential ulterior motives, and don't allow yourself to be manipulated. Remember, a healthy communal relationship is based on mutual respect and understanding, not competitive altruism or moral superiority. It's also crucial to promote genuine empathy within your communities, encourage open and honest communication, and value the contributions of all members, not just those who are the loudest or most visible. Recognizing communal narcissism can help us navigate our interactions more effectively, promoting healthier and more genuine communal relationships.